There he is. Oh, you slid right in. That was the coolest intro.
Yeah, I've been working on that since you told me we were going to do this. I've been working on that since.
That was a very nice slide. Alan Stein Jr. is speaking. So I just had Zach Evanesh on. This is almost like, it almost feels like a This Is Your Life. Alan and I met at least 15 years ago, maybe longer, right?
Yeah.
A long time ago. I spoke at a facility that you and Jason were running and in Maryland. It's one of the first talks I gave about training and business. And you specialized in coaching basketball players, and you've coached professional basketball players, thousands of basketball players, and then you've started to transition to an author. Your book just came out, right?
Yes, sure did.
Win the game,
raise the game,
raise the game,
raise your game, and it came out 2 days ago. So I'm still kind of in that almost surreal feeling from the book launch.
So you got the book, and you're doing a ton of speaking. I mean, every time I see you on Facebook, you're like, "Oh, I'm flying here, I'm speaking here." You're doing a lot of corporate speaking. So. You have a lot of experience in coaching high performance people and coaching executives and entrepreneurship. What do you want to? There's no agenda. You tell me what's firing you up. What can we do to add the most value to everyone listening to this?
I mean, we can take this in any direction you want, because I know your listeners the best. I know where everyone's kind of still in that new year, new me type mindset with it being early January. So, I mean, we can go down the rabbit hole of how folks can be the best versions of themselves. We can go down something a little more narrow with, how to apply the mindsets and rituals of athletes to everyday life. You tell me, Ryan. You lob me a softball, brother, and I'll hit it out of the park for you.
I'll lob your softball. We've talked a lot about rituals. We talked a lot about the importance of having a habit and a daily habit and winning the morning and all that stuff. But some of it is theoretical. Maybe we can get some really specifics on how to set ourselves up better for that.
Absolutely. I love that.
Okay.
First thing I want folks to do is let's take a look at what you're currently doing and what do you know about yourself. And we need to try to narrow the gap between those two things. An audit that I do with myself regularly, but I recommend to a lot of people is write down the 4 or 5 things that help you perform at your highest level. Things that fill your emotional, mental, and physical buckets. Things that just replenish your soul and get you fired up. For some people that's working out. Other people it might be meditation. Some people it might be going to a coffee shop to quietly read or listen to classical music. But figure out the things that get you ready to roll and fill your bucket. And then on the other half of your notes, start taking a look at what you do for the first 60 minutes when you wake up and the last 60 minutes before you go to bed. Even if you keep a journal for a week and just write down what you're doing during the bookends of your day. And then let's compare those 2 sets of notes and let's see how much overlap there is. Because if you're not making time in either the morning or evening, or preferably both, to do at least a little something that refills your cup and recharges your battery, then there's no way that you can perform at the level that you're capable of. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about business, sport, or even being the best, spouse or parent that you can be. You have to fill your bucket first before you can serve anyone else.
That's a great point. And here's what I like to do for everyone who's on live right now, watching and listening to the amazing Alan Stein Jr., write down 1 or 2 things right here in the chat thing, the 1 or 2 things that do that recharge you, that energize you, that fill your bucket. Let's just see where people are. So you had mentioned people go for hikes, people meditate, people work out, people walk. For me, it's my 20-minute daily walk. Like that's my thing. I love doing my 20-minute daily walk. So everyone coming here. So we've got breathing and meditating, yoga, meditation, working out, surfing and sunsets, exercise and journaling. Okay, so what we have to do, and I like that phrase, wood burning, Reiki. So it's fascinating you say that, because we write down all these things that make us feel better, and then the bookends. How often are we doing that at the beginning or the end of the day? And for most of us, probably not much.
Yeah. And the reason I like the bookends is because we have more control over those times of day. I mean, clearly most of the people listening to this are working in some capacity. So I know that midday chunk you can be going anywhere and everywhere, running 100 miles an hour, whether it's chasing your kids around or pouring into your business. I know for a fact it's harder to have control during those times of day, which is why I like to do the bookends. For me, I'm such a morning routine guy because I know that I can control that first 30 minutes of every day. And even if the rest of the day is complete chaos, at least I own that first 30 minutes, and it lays the foundation for me to dominate the rest of my day. And then certainly try to do the same thing on the latter end, and unwind a little bit and do something to end my day on a high note. And that's the other thing is I want folks to realize, I'm not saying that you need to take hours a day to do this. Take 10 to 12 minutes in the morning, 10 to 12 minutes in the evening. For me time is what you need to look at it. But if that makes you feel guilty, or if you feel like that's being selfish, I'm telling you that it's not. You're doing it an act of service, that you filling your cup is the only way possible for you to be the best parent, spouse, business owner, entrepreneur. You fill in the blank. You have to fill your cup first.
Yeah. And rituals. I'm glad more people are starting to talk about them, because it's the rituals and the consistency is often more important than the actual thing you're doing.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
I mean, that's what I love about what you just said. You said your daily walk, not the walk whenever you feel like it, not the walk when it's convenient, not the walk. It's the daily walk. And to me, that's what all of us need to do, is we need to find ways to make these habits and rituals daily. And I've learned that straight from elite basketball players. I mean, that's what they do. Their rituals and their routines and their pre-practice habits and their post-game, all of that stuff is 100% routine and ritualistic at this point. And that's why they're able to maintain and sustain such high performance.
What are some other tips and strategies and tactics we can use to make sure we're adhering to our rituals and building good ones?
You need an accountability circle or an accountability manager, or whatever terminology you want to use, but don't try to be the hero and take these things onto yourself. You need to find the people in your life that you know care about you. You know that they want to see you happy, that a win for you is a win for them. And you need to ask them, beg them to hold you accountable to do these things. So if you say, hey, every morning I'm going to do A, B, and C, would you mind checking in with me later in the day to make sure that I did it? And if those people are truly your people and they're in your inner circle, they won't hesitate. So if it's for you, for example, let's say you were trying to start the practice of a daily walk, and you hit me up and said, hey, Alan, would you mind texting me every afternoon and make sure I went on my walk, or ask me what I thought about, or ask me if I listened to a podcast? Yeah, of course, Ryan, I'd be happy to do that. And if you can get a few people that are going to hold you accountable, it's going to greatly increase your chance of sticking to it. And accountability is the way that we show others that we care about them. Accountability, holding someone accountable is not something you do to them. It's something you do for them. And when you hold someone accountable to stick to what they said they're going to do, and you hold them accountable to high standards of excellence, that's a way that we show each other that we care and that we love each other.
And obviously here, everyone here, we're trying to show up the best in life, in business, in relationships, in health, everything. So you've worked with, again, a lot of high performers. You speak to a lot of big corporations. I want the best of Alan Stein Jr. Give me your one or two best things we can do, rituals or not, whatever, just high performance tactics, things we could do to just live a just kick-ass life.
The first and foremost is never get bored with the basics. Don't try to complicate things. Don't try to complicate happiness. Don't try to complicate business. Don't try to complicate life. Basic foundational principles are all that you need to be able to and execute them consistently, to be able to have all of these things we want. And we tend to try to make things way too complicated because we live in a society that keeps encouraging us to skip steps and to circumvent the process and to chase whatever's new and hot and flashy and sexy. The basics work, and they always have, and they always will. And having a respect and appreciation for the basics and the process is what will allow you to build that foundation so that you can, again, you fill in the blank. What are you in search of? Happiness, fulfillment, success, significance, whatever it is, the basics and adhering to them consistently every day is the most efficient and effective way to get there.
Yeah, I love it. Look, and people might call it old school, but I'm with you 100%. And I don't know where you stand on it, and you don't have to weigh in on it or not, but I'm going to go off in a little 5-second rant here. And I think some people with the term biohacking, and we had Dr. Venus on who actually simplified everything, but I think we've gone so overboard with performance hacking and biohacking and all these extremes. I heard a podcast with one guy talking about, I mean, his routine, Alan, was probably 3.5 to 4 hours every day. I get a professional deep tissue massage. I'm in the cryo chamber. I'm doing this. I'm getting facial stuff. I'm getting injections and IVs. And I'm like, what? Like, it's so unrealistic. And I'm like, we've gone so far off. Then you spend your whole life doing that and you're not actually living.
Absolutely. Well, there's two things. One, I'm a stickler for terminology, and I know what people mean when they say the word hack, but I've never liked the word, only because to me, just this is my interpretation of it, it connotates a shortcut. And I'm not a guy that likes shortcuts. So for me, I'm not trying to hack life. I'm trying to live life. And that's what you just alluded to. But I'll share with everyone my morning routine. Very first thing I do is make my bed. And I've done that since I was, 18, 19 years old. Next thing I do is I do a quick breathing ritual. It's 6-7 minutes of some different breathing exercises. I do a few yoga poses and some stretches. I follow the Headspace guided meditation app, and I take a 5-minute cold shower. And from the moment my eyelids open to the moment I step out of the shower is less than 30 minutes from start to finish. And that's 30 minutes that I have control over. It's how I prime and set my day. And I can do that anywhere. I do it from hotel rooms. I do it when I'm at home. And like I said, from start to finish, it's under 30 minutes. And if I don't do anything else the rest of the day that was dedicated towards me, I know that I got that in, and I start my day feeling invigorated and ready to tackle whatever the challenge is.
Yeah. And I don't do a full cold shower, but I'll do a regular shower, and the last like 30 seconds, I'll turn it cold and just kind of stand there. Tell people, because people think I'm crazy when I do that, but it feels incredible, doesn't it?
It does. And in full transparency, I don't enjoy 1 second of the cold shower. Not 1 second. It's miserable every single morning. But when I get out, it's invigorating. And the reason I do that is I want to learn how to kind of embrace the suck. I don't know who came up with that concept, but I like doing something in the morning that's a pattern interrupt and that I don't like to do, because it conditions me to be able to tackle other things in life that I don't like. And, I still, as optimistic and as positive as I am, I still have some limiting beliefs about things that I can accomplish. And I believe that the best way for me to get rid of those limiting beliefs is by doing something a little bit every single day that starts to erode these feelings of, oh, I can't do that. And people tell me that all the time, like with a cold shower. Oh, I can't do that. I can't take a cold shower. You can. You may choose not to. And I don't want to do them, but I do them because every day I do it, it builds that strength of embracing the suck just a little bit more.
So let's shift gears a little bit, because those are some really good performance hacks. And I definitely embrace the suck a little bit in the morning, but it builds resilience.
Yes,
it really does. I mean, and I talk about entrepreneurs. That's the trait you need. You need resilience, because no matter who says it's so easy, it's the hardest thing in the world. So yes. Speaking of business, here's a little transition. You've done a really good job with promoting yourself on social media, on getting all these speaking gigs, on getting the book out now, you seem to know everybody. And it's funny because every time someone tags me or you, we both like, how do you know everybody? Because it
is pretty cool.
Really, it is. We know so many of the same people, and we'd almost kind of lost touch for a few years and got back in touch a couple of years ago. So give me one or two specific things you do to kind of keep promoting and keeping yourself in the public and growing your business.
Well, honestly,
by the way, you're in a very competitive business, professional speaking and author, right?
It is, but it's something I took out a page of your playbook that I learned from you when we met in the early 2000s. And that's, put a very high premium on relationships. I mean, relationships are the most important currency that we have as human beings. I mean, certainly I don't wish it upon myself, but if everything were to be taken from me tomorrow, I mean, my bank account's liquidated, my apartment burns down, my car, if all of that's gone, I know that I'll be okay, because I've built an infrastructure of relationships of people that will help me get back on my feet, people that are willing to support me and encourage me and hold me accountable, but people that are willing to open doors for me, people that are willing to make introductions. I mean, since we've reconnected, I mean, you've provided several introductions to me that I've then been able to turn into other things that continue to make the momentum going forward. So first and foremost, you have to put a high premium on relationships. And the key is doing so because you want to serve others and you care about other people. which is what I know you're all about. It's not who can I meet because they can help me.
Right.
It's who can I meet because I can help them. And if you help enough people out there, the world just tends to return the favor, and good things end up happening.
Yeah, and it's true, and you live and breathe it. Even with this event, Rick Steele was on 2 days ago. I met him through you, and you're the one. You said, "Hey Ryan, I see you doing the event. Who can I introduce you to?" And you had a whole list of people. You were one of the first ones to reach out to do that, and you did it without any saying, "Oh, now you owe me." Like, it's just been pure relationship. So you live and breathe it. Alan, I appreciate you coming on here. I know you're busy. I know you're day 2 or day 3 of your new book. How could they find out more about your book, you, and all the cool stuff you're doing?
If they go to raiseyourgamebook.com, you can check out the book, and anything about me is just at alansteinjr.com. And I'm at Alan Stein Jr. on Instagram, LinkedIn, and love engaging with folks. So if anything I said here resonated, please hit me up on social. We'll start a little chat, and that's what it's all about. But man, I really appreciate you, Ryan. It's been almost 2 decades now, man. You've had a major, major influence on my life, and I appreciate you very much.
Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you, and it's great to hear that. But I'm so happy for everything you're doing, and we will support you. RaiseYourGameBook.com and AlanSteinJr.com. Thanks, Alan.
You got it.
All right, see you soon.
Yep.
All right, everybody. That was Alan Stein Jr.